Welcome back to Book Bite Cinema. Today we're diving into one of the most powerful and controversial texts from the Spanish colonial period, Brevísima Relación de la Destrucción de las Indias, written by Fray Bartolomé de las Casas. This book offers a shocking eyewitness account of the violent Spanish conquest of the Americas. Let's get into it. Fray Bartolomé de las Casas was a Spanish Dominican friar who arrived in the New World in the early 1500s. At first, he benefited from the colonial system, but everything changed after he witnessed the brutal treatment of indigenous peoples. He gave up his land and slaves and became one of the first European advocates for indigenous rights. He dedicated his life to defending native populations from cruelty and exploitation. Las Casas wrote Brevísima Relación in 1542, and it was published 10 years later in 1552. The book is a short but emotionally intense report written to Prince Philip of Spain. In it, Las Casas describes, often in graphic detail, the violence committed by Spanish colonizers, mass killings, slavery, torture, and the destruction of entire indigenous communities. His goal was to stop the abuses and reform the Spanish colonial system. Let's look at the key themes in the book. First, Las Casas contrasts Christian values with colonial violence. He questions how Christians could commit such horrors in the name of God. Second, he argues for the full humanity of indigenous peoples. He saw them as intelligent, moral, and worthy of rights. Third, he exposes the greed that fueled conquest. For Las Casas, the real motivation was not faith, but gold. And finally, the book is an early example of truth-telling and advocacy. Las Casas used his voice to challenge power and defend justice. The impact of Brevísima Relación was immediate. It helped influence the new laws of 1542, which aimed to protect indigenous people from further abuse, though enforcement was inconsistent. Over time, the book also shaped debates about colonization, slavery, and human rights. Even today, Las Casas is remembered as a controversial but essential figure in world history, someone who dared to speak against the empire from within. So why should we still read Brevísima Relación today? Because it challenges us to look at history. It reminds us that colonization came with deep human cost, and that not everyone went along with it. Las Casas encourages us to think critically about power, justice, and how we tell history. In many ways, the issues he raised are still relevant today, especially when it comes to human rights, racism, and historical memory. Before we wrap up, here are some questions to think about. Do you think Las Casas made a real difference in changing Spanish colonial policy? Can books and stories still influence politics like his did? And how does hearing this account change your view of the Spanish conquest? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. If this video helped you understand Brevísima Relación, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more literature breakdowns and historical deep dives. You can find English and Spanish versions of the book online for free if you want to read the full text. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.